This here is a remarkable,
Welcome to the Wedding of Distinction podcast, a program for the unique bride and groom. The Wedding of Distinction is a concept where brides and grooms want something better. Not just your average wedding. We have the tools to make that happen. Now, here's your host, Mike Fernino.
Hi, everybody. I am indeed Mike Fernino. Yes, I am. And you are listening to the Wedding of Distinction podcast. Today, we're going to talk insurance. Yeah, it could be a little boring, but hear me out. You might get some great information that can benefit your wedding. And why would anyone need insurance for a wedding celebration? In the state of Connecticut, many wedding venues are now requiring liability insurance from all vendors operating on site in order to work at their facility. Many actually require a policy from the vendor and ask to be named as additional insured. Now, my guest will explain that in our interview that's coming on up. In fact, on the program today, I'm going to be talking with the president of the American Disc Jockey Association, Dr. Hugo Drax. The ADJA was instrumental as an organization in getting its members good quality and affordable event insurance and making sure a code of ethical conduct was achieved. Part of that code of efficacy requires members all have liability insurance. Dr. Drax discusses why your DJ and other wedding professional vendors should all be insured, the benefits and the pitfalls. It's important information I'm very happy to bring to you today, right here on the Wedding of Distinction podcast. On the Zoom line today, I have Dr. Hugo Drax of the American Disc Jockey Association. And he is not only the president of the organization, but he's been a major factor in getting DJs insured so they can operate and work at all of the major wedding and function facilities out there. Dr. Drax, hello, welcome to the program, and let's talk insurance today.
Excellent. Good morning, Mike. Hope everything's going well. Yeah, insurance. Nobody would think of driving their car without insurance. No one would think about having someone come in and work on your home that didn't have insurance. So why on one of the most important days of your life would you not make sure that all of the venues or vendors for your event have insurance to protect you against liability? In a large gathering of 200 people, there's a lot that can go on. People could trip over a cord, photographer's light stand, a DJ's tripod. People could get hurt and then choose to sue you for a number of reasons. Well, the last thing you want to do is be sued for something that your DJ or photographer or photo booth did, and then you become liable. Now, it isn't meaning that you won't be sued, because we live in a sue-happy world. Everybody sues everyone, and it's regardless of fault. But when you look to judge the professionalism of who you hire, operating a legitimate business, having $1 million liability policy should be a foundational query that you want to be protected. And here's why. You have your wedding reception. Everybody's having a great time. Grandma is walking around in the dark, not paying attention, and she trips over the DJ's tripod. Boom, she goes down, she's injured, goes to the hospital. Now she wants to sue the DJ. The DJ doesn't have insurance. So they sue you. They sue everyone. And when I say grandma, it doesn't necessarily mean your own grandmother or such, but an elderly person. We've even had lawsuits originate where brides and grooms have been sued because two people got in a bar fight by being overserved. They didn't just sue the beverage provider. They sued every event pro and the bride and groom. Imagine coming home from your honeymoon to an invitation to court. That really starts married life off with a bang. So the thing you want to consider as you're planning your event is only hiring event pros that are insured with at least $1 million liability policy. And you want each of them to give you what's called an additional insured certificate. What that is a document that says that you are listed as insured on their policy for that date, for that period of time, for anything arising out of their action or their inaction. It doesn't protect you from being sued if you do something foolish, but it does protect you against liabilities incurred by the action or inaction of other people that you have hired. Did you know that when you hire someone in a public space where others are coming, that you become essentially liable for the actions of those you employ? Most consumers didn't know that. So it's real important for you to know that and for you to be protected. And the way you're protected is not hiring any event pro that doesn't carry liability insurance and that can't prove it. A lot will tell you they have it. If they do, say, great, could I have a copy of your certificate of insurance? And then when you get it, I hate to say you need to do it, but you need to contact the insurance company and actually validate that it's legitimate and they are really insured.
Right, right.
And that's because a lot of people will get a copy of insurance from another friend, from another colleague. They'll white it out, if you will. They'll Photoshop their data in and try to pass that off. Now, obviously, if you hire somebody that's a member of the American Disc Jockey Association or the Professional Photographers Association or the Photo Booth Association, you're hiring pros that already have submitted to a code of conduct, to a higher ethical standard. And so what you want to consider with that is they're bringing to the table a set of values that are important to you, because it means you're hiring somebody that's going to do the right things. We require, as the American Disc Jockey Association, that our members have $1 million liability policy. We require them to have legal music. That's a topic for another day, but for you as the consumer, you want to hire people that you can trust, not just the people that fit a pricing model. Yeah, your budget's important, but it will be less important. In fact, it'll become insignificant if, again, you hire somebody that does shoddy work, that leaves cords lying on the floor without being taped down, that has tripods set in spaces where people are going to walk. I knew a photographer that did that. He set up his lighting stand right by the door. Invariably, somebody always tripped out over it. I knew DJs that left cords crossing the threshold untaped. Invariably, someone always trips or slips. These are things you don't want to have happen because, like I say, you don't want to come home from your honeymoon to a lawsuit, to an invitation to court. And most brides and grooms, frankly, they leave their reception before the reception ends. You know, have the big send-off, they'll go up to their room, do whatever, instructing the DJ and the rest of the event pros, keep the party going for a while. So you could have went off to start your honeymoon, not realizing someone was injured later on that night. So these are the things that you want to consider. Hiring event pros that are insured. And I would tell you, make sure you hire event pros that are part of the professional trade association of their industry. Because in the end, those that join their trade association, it's a reflection of their commitment to their craft, to a code of conduct, to ethical behavior, and to doing what's right to protect you. Those are the things you want to look at as you think about insurance. Particularly today, we're talking about disc jockeys. You know, when you hire a DJ and he brings in sound equipment, and speakers on tripods, and maybe lighting and projectors and video screens, are they doing these things in a safe manner? Something that's very popular today is they're called cold spark. You've seen them. They look like fireworks going off at your party. They're a very cool photographic element. But are they setting them up in a safe manner? Well, you can be assured when you hire somebody with liability insurance and proper training, because they're members of a trade association, they're managing your risks. They are making sure that everything at your wedding reception is a safe and fun environment. And so these are the tips, Mike, that I think your listeners should pay attention to, because you want your reception to be safe. You want it to be fun, and you want it to be something that will create memories people will have for a lifetime, favorable memories, instead of ones that aren't.
I was going to say, I would like to point out, going back about 10 or 12 years ago, I say we because I'm a member of the American Disc Jockey Association. One of the things that we were trying to do was get the word out to venues that they should only accept DJs, photographers, videographers, wedding vendors, and professionals that were insured and can produce a certificate. That was like 12 years ago. And around my area of Connecticut, we went around and did a campaign where we called up the venues and we tried to pitch that concept on them. And now, 12 years later, it's become a mandatory part of many of the venues. Most venues, I would say hotels definitely, but most venues do require certificate of liability insurance. So it hasn't just evolved. It's changed into the fact where now your DJ has to have a certificate, and many of them are requiring that additional insured addendum added on to the actual certificate and provided to them.
Exactly. And that's something you want to consider, because you hire a DJ without insurance, and then you find your venue requires your DJ to have insurance. Now your DJ's, because he's not really ethical and not really operating as a pro, he's going to try to say, well, you need to pay for that insurance because I don't believe in it. Well, right there, that should be a huge flag. We think every venue should, because if you think about it, a venue is $1 million investment. Why do they want to put their investment at risk to allow someone else to come on their property to make money at your reception? So again, this is something the American Disc Jockey Association has pioneered and promoted, and we do so because we believe it raises ethical behavior, and we believe it raises professionalism within the events industry. Because a lot of DJs, unfortunately, that are out there are not really professional. They're hobbyists. And by hobbyists, I mean they don't take it seriously, because it doesn't matter if they're a full-time mobile DJ or if they're a part-time DJ. What really matters is, do they operate that business activity in a professional, ethical, and legitimate manner? And certainly, liability insurance is king among them, as is legal music, as is that they have a contract. And by the way, if your DJ gives you a contract which seems loaded with protections for him and very light on protections for you, you should walk away, because the best DJs will have a contract which does protect them, but likewise also protects you equally as well. That's just so important, because you want to hire somebody that cares as much about your safety and protection as their own, that cares as much about the safety and joy at your event as you do. And that's found when you hire professionals, people that are committed to their craft, people that are members of the American Disc Jockey Association, the Photo Booth Association. So that's a good point, Mike, and hopefully your listeners have been able to understand these things. If they have any questions, they can certainly contact me anytime at adja.org, either on the internet, or they can look us up on Facebook.
Fantastic. I appreciate your time today. Dr. Drax from the American Disc Jockey Association.
Keep safe and be well until we meet again.
This here is a remarkable,
The Wedding of Distinction podcast is a production of Music in Motion Entertainment. All rights reserved. Any unauthorized publication of this program is strictly prohibited. For the Wedding of Distinction podcast, I'm Mike Vincent. Happy wedding planning, everybody.